So what I'll do is you will see me using 3 to 4 different tools over here. The very first I will use is this keynote, right? Where I'll present something and then to actually show you the how it works on the industry side, I'll take you to the actual tool. So you will see me switching between the Google Sheet. The front end will be done by the presentation over here. And also you will see me using this whiteboard, right? To scribble and to show you certain topics, right? So if there is a problem, in the switching part of it, if there is a delay, please do let me know. I'll switch off my camera and I'll try to cover that up. Second topic is, if in case my internet goes down, please hold on for 1 or 2 minutes. I'll get back and we'll continue with the session, right? So there's no need to panic on that part of it, right? Perfect. So let's get started. Can I get a quick yes from all of you? I hope I was very clear on the protocol part. Perfect. I would again request everybody to be very communicative, because this is just not me talking. Probably we will try to interact with each other as much as we can. Okay, great. So with this, I'll switch off my camera for some time and we'll get started. Once I start the interaction with you, I'll switch on my camera again. Perfect. So to get started about today's topic, very, very simple. There is no jargon over here. You all know this, that since I would say last 1 decade, there is a lot of focus on data part, right? Whichever organization has got a large amount of data, those organizations are now ripping out the fruit of this data. To understand this particular statement, we will go through this entire workshop. Okay. And why do I say that data is a new oil? You will be able to correlate towards the end of the workshop. Okay. So with this, let's get started. I think Mehul already introduced me, so I'll try to skip this part of it. But overall, I head the entire data sciences and analytics vertical at Skill-Lync. And prior to that, I was heading large projects with IT services domain across media, telecom, retail, healthcare, multiple domains, right? So overall, you can consider me being a full stack AI/ML developer, a tester, an architect, a delivery manager, and a director, right? So I've seen all the phases of, I would say, data pipelines, right? Okay, so before we jump on to the complex part of it, what I would request all of you to do over here is, there is a small exercise I want all of you to work upon. Okay. Now, what is this exercise about? Okay, I'll use the red ink. Yeah. So you will see on the left-hand side, you will see a lot of columns, which are named as A, B, C, and D. Okay. And also you will see some symbols. So we do have spanner, we have an hammer, we have an X, or we have, I don't know what you call this in English. Okay. So you will see that there are a lot of, okay, we call this a saw. Okay. So there are a lot of combinations you will see over here. And when A, B, C, and D combines together, we get a particular symbol as a result, as an outcome. Okay. So don't think much about it. Okay. How does this symbol came in? It's just a simple formulation saying that when these 4 combine, this is the final output. Similar to that, you will observe there are 5 rows and 4 columns, right? So when they interact with each other, these are the outcomes that are produced. Okay. So I would give you all, say, around 3 minutes of time to understand this table. Okay. To understand the patterns in this table, right? And then on the right-hand side, solve this particular puzzle. So I've given you a sample data where these 4 combinations are there. I would request all of you that using this information, please predict what is going to be in this particular circle. Either it's going to be, a knight, or what do you call this as in the chess part, right? So the symbols. So please predict over here. So probably, let's say we'll take 3 minutes to do this. And then I'll keep the chat window open for next 2 to 3 minutes to collect all of your answers, right? Now, when you're typing your answer, please be very precise. You need to type 2 things over there. First, what is the answer? What is going to come over here? Okay. Secondly, you can also type the strategy with which you say or you predicted that it is going to come over here. I want you to put the strategy there. That what made you think that this is the answer. Okay, so the exercise starts now. I'll keep an eye on the chat window, right? Please go ahead. Your time starts now. Okay, meanwhile, if somebody knows what you call the other symbol as, please help all of us. I think that is a rook. We call it a rook or bishop. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sakshi. So we have bishop and we have knight. The horse is the knight, and the other one is a bishop. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so your time starts now. Please put that prediction. And also I want the strategy you use to do this. Okay, I'm seeing some of the answers coming to me directly, but guys, I need the strategy. How you feel that knight is an answer or bishop is an answer. A small one-liner should help. Okay, let me check on the chat window. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay, so there was a request where somebody has asked me to repeat the question. Okay, so I'll repeat the question again. Do you see on the left-hand side, do you see the patterns? Do you see the rows and columns A, B, C, and D? So there are certain symbols, and when these symbols interact with each other, they produce another symbol, right? So I want you to basically look at these patterns in the data, and then come on this particular side, look at the symbols and predict what could be in the circle. Right? I got some 2 or 3 messages saying that please repeat the question. So it was for that. Perfect. Great. Okay. So let me give away the answer. The answer is the knight, actually. Okay. Right. And I will tell you my reason why it is knight. It could be right. It could be wrong. Right. And that builds the case for today's session, that how exactly or how well you interpret your data could lead into you being right or you being wrong. Okay, so I'll give you my version of why I feel it is knight. So if you see here, wherever there is an hammer, so if you just focus on column number A, wherever there is an hammer in column number A, you will always see that it is a bishop on the other side, right? Compare it with column number B. Do you find that pattern? So if there is a spanner, there could be bishop. If there is a saw, there could be bishop. If there is another spanner, there could be bishop, right? So here we are confused whether it's a spanner or it's a saw. We are not very sure. It's 50-50, I would say. Try with column number C, right? So wherever there is a X, there is a bishop, spanner, bishop, saw, bishop. So we are not very certain over here that, okay, this is leading to the final answer. Okay. So using this strategy, I strongly believe that wherever there is in column number A, wherever you find a hammer, that leads to the bishop, or else whatever is the case, it leads to knight. This is my version of data interpretation. It could be right. It could be wrong, right? Why do I say it could be wrong? It could be right because in the current data that we have over here, it works. But say down the line, you increase the number of samples of data. There is a chance that this theory might go bad. All of you agree with this? With this 5 samples of data, right? This works as of now. But imagine if we have, more data down the line, it could be yes or no. Or probably there could be some more patterns which I have missed to analyze. It could be that. Okay. So overall, with this exercise, we just saw that we can easily convert a raw data like this into an information of this form. Right? Now try thinking this way. Try replacing the symbols with your actual business data. Let's say you've got a data which is for your organization, and using this data for future, probably your organization is asking you that if you have this particular data, learn something, and then for a future event, can you please help us to predict right? So in that case, what you did, you learned the pattern and then you tried using that pattern for future. Fair enough? Yeah, everybody is in sync with me. You get the point over here. The point is, even though a raw looking data like this can give you a decision-making capability of this sort. Imagine if we had more data, we would have had more decision-making power on the other side. Okay. Perfect. So there is a comment. My voice is breaking. Is it for all? Shall I change my network or it is just for one person?
No, Krishna. Your voice is clear to all of us.
Perfect. Harshvardhan, do one thing. Just check your audio once and rejoin. Probably that will solve the problem. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now with this, let's move further. Okay. So a quick check. Is the speed okay? Everyone? Speed is okay? Perfect. Great. Okay. So now let me take you to the world of big data. Okay. So right. So I'm showing you a very, very basic sample report here. Right. And let's see what we do every single day, you and me, which basically results into a large data generation. Okay. If this is not readable, just let me know. I'll try to zoom in more. So if you see this particular number, say in the year of 2021, towards the end of 2021, there was a data recorded by some organization. Okay, so complete credit for all of this data goes to this organization. I'm just a messenger who's just trying to show you the actual numbers that we are using. And this has now increased because we are right now in 2023, right? If you look at this, WhatsApp users, messages shared by WhatsApp users in 1 minute. Okay. If somebody could translate this into millions for me, meanwhile, I explain, just check it out, how many millions it's going to be. In every minute, this much amount of data or messages are shared on WhatsApp by us. Okay. Meanwhile, just try to figure out how much million it is. If not, I'll give away the answer. Next, if you look at this, calls, video and voice calls made by people worldwide. So for example, right now, when we are doing this workshop, we are contributing to this number of voice and video calls happening, right? Netflix, look at the number. Hours of video streamed by Netflix users. Correct? So look at the huge number. Right. So overall, you will see a lot of other names also here, Facebook, Instagram, right? So imagine these are some of the companies that I have mentioned, right? There could be many more, right? There are aerospace companies, there are, I would say, outer space organizations, there is share market, stock market, right? There are a lot of organizations who collect a lot of data and play around with the data, right? Imagine the size of the data you have. Right? Okay, so the pitch, or I would say the thing to focus over here is with us going, or probably every year passing in digital age, we are increasing the amount of data that we are producing. And with this increase, you can imagine how much there is a dependency on the data. So down the line, almost all the organizations will be digitized. And any decision that will be taken within the organization will be related to data. Okay. I'll give you one more example. How an organization, for some of you who have not started working yet, you might be wondering, how does an organization take a decision on data? I'll give you a very, very simple example, right? You all heard about the recent layoffs happening in the companies. We'll not name the companies, but you all heard about those layoffs. Was the number huge? Everyone? How big was the number? Approximately? Now, keeping that in mind, any reason, right? Any reason why those layoffs would have happened? The only reason is, say, for example, down the line, recession is up. Okay. Because of that, you might have extra cost cuttings. And because of that, probably there could be certain budgets, which has to be removed immediately, right? So it is not about the person was not skilled enough. It was something about a data-driven decision. So down the line, we might not be able to survive because of huge amount of costs. Okay, so this is just an example I'm giving. Okay, you don't have to worry about which company is doing what, but overall, say if you have your data, right, you can take certain type of decisions. Now, yes, it was not a very good part of it, but this is just an example. Please don't take it, on a very serious level. It is something like a data-driven decision. Okay, perfect. Next, you will see over here in the graph saying that 2021, where was the data usage, and by 2024, where the data usage is going to be, right? So with this increase, there is a very, very big gap in the market requirement for data engineers, data scientists, people who play around with data and make reports out of it, insights out of it, all those things. Okay, so I will share this particular link in the chat window. You all can refer this after this particular session. Okay, I will share it with Mehul, if Mehul can share it with everybody in the chat box. Okay, just go through this article. It's a very, very nicely written article. It was written in probably 2021, right? So you can follow this particular article and look at the data size. Okay, great. Was this concept very clear to everyone? The opportunity that we have down the line in 2024, 2025, how the data is growing. Are we all clear onto that? Any questions for me? I'll quickly take up 2 minutes for questions. If you want me to give any other examples on data-driven decision, please let me know. I'll be happy to do it. Okay, so meanwhile, I get questions. I'll give you one more example of data-driven decisions, right? You all have heard about ChatGPT. Have you all heard about this new revolutionary chat called a tool called ChatGPT, right? What it does, you type in any question for this tool, it will reply you back with a relevant answer. Now that answer could be right, that answer could be wrong. Okay, how they are doing this? Very simple. There is a huge amount of text data available on the backend. Okay, they had made or designed certain bots, right? Which basically reads those information and tries to store the patterns within the information, right? And then when you query it or when you ask a question, it tries to find out the nearest answer that it has and gives it back to you. Simple as that. Down the line, let's say in future, if I take more sessions on AI, ML and all, you might see these use cases over there. But for today, the thing is, it's a data-driven tool, right? So for example, if you ask certain question to that bot and the bot is not able to reply back, it will take it very seriously. It will go back, it will retrain itself. And then probably say next day, you might see that that answer is available over there. Okay. Second example could be Tesla, right? These cars they sometimes run on autonomous mode. That means you don't have to actually drive the car. The car identifies the obstacles on the road, and then it tries to brake, accelerate, or move the steering so that to avoid the obstacle. If you all have heard about Tesla and seen those videos, right? I would highly recommend all of you to go to YouTube and just check it out, how a Tesla car drives. And you will observe that people are not even touching the steering and the car is, navigating itself through the road, which is full of traffic. Okay. Again, a data-driven decision. Okay, perfect. Great. So I will now continue further. And now we will actually dive deep into a very, very insightful case study. And again, I would request all of you to participate here. Okay. The more you answer my questions, the more you are going to understand what we are doing. Okay. And unless, I get good amount of yeses, you will see me asking this question again and again. Did you understand? Did you understand? Are you following? Am I okay? The reason is I want everybody to take maximum out of this session. Okay, perfect. So what do we have today? Don't worry about the right hand side. Ignore this part right now. What do we have? I've got a client, say for example, and the client has a requirement from their side. What is the requirement? The client has a raw data from their side. Okay, they have a tabular data. This data is majorly on the payment side, for example. Okay, so let's say there is a company XYZ and they charge their customers on a subscription basis. So for example, say a particular date or day in a month, right? The customer is being charged on the credit card or on their bank account, saying that this is the amount you have to pay to continue your subscription, right? Now, keeping this case in mind, are you all okay, or did you all understand the requirement, or did you all understand the data? The data is a payments gateway data. Okay, what the data is more about some customers having a subscription with the company and the company is automatically charging them. Is this clear? Perfect. Now, if this is clear, what could be the outcome of this data? Can you all tell? So if you remember the previous slide that we saw, the prediction slide that we saw, there was something called result, the result column, right? So think about it. If this is my current data, what could be the result of this data? What could be the column that could say that, yeah, this is the result? Just predict. It's about payment. The payment could be either successful or a failure. Okay. So the requirement now is the client says, very simple, that I have got a huge amount of data. Please help me to find out, first of all, please help me to unify my data. That means more or less organize my data. Secondly, please provide me all possible insights. What is insights? Insights are hidden patterns. Okay. Keeping the payment success in scope. That means I am not worried from where the payment is coming or from which location it's coming. It's more about the payment success rate should be a little higher for me. I don't want my transactions, to go on rejection mode, right? To run the company, you need money and you need money on time, right? So this is a very critical requirement for the end client. Fine. So far, so good, everyone, till point number 2. Are we clear? I'll take you to the data. Don't worry on the data part. I'll take you there. Perfect. I got some yeses. Thank you. Next, third option or third requirement there is to build an automated dashboard for the leadership to view. See, on 2 slides back, a 5-row data is good enough for us to understand the pattern, right? But right now, the data we are talking about is not that small. It's a big data. So do you think every single morning people come to office, they pick up this data, they again find the insights, and then they give the report to the management? Not possible. They want this insights to be automated on a dashboard. This is the third requirement. Is this clear? We can use anything as a dashboard. We can use Excel, we can use Python, we can use Tableau, any tool we can use to create this automated dashboards. Fair enough? Next, recommend a solution to improve the payment success. Now, since I have done all this, I can also give a recommendation back to my client saying that if you make small changes, you might be able to get a better success rate. Another example, I keep asking, is my speed okay? Is my speed okay? The reason is I want this session to go very nice. Basically, I want all of you to understand what I say. That's a success for me, right? So it's basically I'm asking for a recommendation from you all saying that looking at my speed, my way of teaching, are you all comfortable with? If you say yes, it's a recommendation for me. If you say no, what I'll do, I'll try to improve. I'll try to either speed up or slow down, which will again end up into a better success rate for me. Fair enough? And the last topic is now, since we have done all of these, is this data ready or are we ready to implement AI ML? Okay, you would have heard these words, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Are we ready? Is this company ready enough to go ahead and implement AI ML? Why this question has been asked is implementing AI and ML onto any of these organizations, adapting it is very, very costly affair. You have to have a lot of environment, a lot of tools, a lot of things in place, right? So the final ask is that looking at our data, can you recommend AI ML for us? Yes or no? Okay. I got a no from somebody saying that. So what does that know about? You did not understand what I said, or do you want me to repeat this 4 points again? I got a no from someone. Can you please clarify? You want me to repeat the 4 points? I'm okay to do that. Quick reply will help. Okay, all right, sorry. Okay, my bad. Okay, that no was an answer for some question of mine. No worries, completely okay. Okay, right. So point number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I am assuming that majority of you are very clear about 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there is one, please repeat, ask. Okay, give me a minute, I'll repeat again. There is a data which client has. What is that data? The data is nothing but a table of rows and columns. Okay. Now the client wants me to, first of all, clean their data, make their data better. Secondly, they want me to understand or give them more insights from the data. What is insight? Insight is finding out the hidden patterns of the data. The third ask is build a dashboard. Now, to show you all, what do I mean by dashboard? Let me quickly show you. Something of this sort, say, for example. Okay, what if I can show you that from your data, there are certain countries on the map, right? And these countries are contributing something to your data, something of this sort. Okay, so they want a dashboard to be built so that anybody who comes, say, or probably wants to see the live updates of insights, they can go to this dashboard and start seeing what is happening. If you did not understand this, no worries. We are going to create a live dashboard today for this data. Okay. Next, they want us to recommend a solution to improve their problem. The problem current is payment success. Some of their payments are not going properly or they are not successful. In that case, they want us to recommend a proper solution to them. Okay. Finally, they want us to check if whatever data they have, is it feasible to be applied on AI and ML or not? Okay. So for all of you, I would request to focus on first 4 opportunities. The 5th one is optional for today. We'll have a separate session for this, but overall 1, 2, 3, and 4 is highly to be focused today. With that said, are we clear on this? Perfect. Yes, about the table, the data and all, I'll take you all. Don't worry about this. Okay, so don't worry about that map I showed you. We are going to build that map live today. And it is not from Excel, it was from Tableau. Perfect. So now I think I've got majority yeses. Let me go further. So this is the last slide, so we'll not come here. Now we will switch to the tools. Okay. Question number 1, is this readable? Or do you want me to zoom in? Readable, everyone? Yes, very nice. Okay, perfect. So this is a data, I would say. And in our world, we call it as a relational data. Why relational data? Because each and every column and rows, they are somehow related to each other. How? Column number 1, all the rows are nothing but the numbers, serial numbers. Column number 2, all are nothing but the dates. Yes, the dates are different, but they are relatable. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll walk you through each and every column here. And once I am done, I'll ask you for a confirmation whether you understood what is there in the column or not. Okay, now, where will you find this data? You will not find this data anywhere on internet. The reason is this is artificially generated data. Okay, so this I have generated specifically for this particular session. So this is not an actual payments data coming from any company. This is data generated by me very, very carefully. Okay, so the very first column, the column number C that you see here is nothing but the serial number. You don't have to worry about this column. It's just a serial number. It's sequential data. Okay, and if you scroll down, or if I scroll down for you, you will see that there are 83 records in total. Okay, so overall, we are not dealing with a very large data today. To keep it very simple and speedy, we are dealing with total 83 data points. Fair enough. Next, column number D, that is called ping date. Now, what do you mean by ping date? I'll give you an example. Say there is a company XYZ. You have put your credit card on that company, and it says that your subscription, payment will happen on 1st of every month, for example. So on 1st, the organization system will actually ping your bank and credit card for a payment. Have you all done this earlier? Anybody using Netflix, Amazon Prime over here? You will understand what I'm trying to say. Every month, there is X amount of money getting deducted. The ping date is the date when the system pinged your bank. Very simple. Okay. It could go more complex over here where we could have the hour, minute, seconds of ping also, because it's a payment related data. But to keep it simple here, I've just put the date. Okay. Everybody clear with ping date. Now, going further, transaction ID, nothing to say much about. It's a unique ID. Every time you transact, there is an ID to be given to you so that down the line, if you have to track it, right, you have to always use this number to track. So it's a randomly generated transaction ID. You will also see that I've used the rand function here in the, what do you say, formula bar, right? So I have just said between this and this number, give me a number. It's a random number. But overall, imagine on the system side or on the actual industry side or data side, it's a transaction unique ID given to each transaction. Next column is CX ID, that is your customer ID. Okay, the unique ID given to a customer. That let's say when you onboard, for example, Skill-Lync, you might have a unique customer ID given to you. Okay, next is the name. Again, don't worry, the names are all generated by me, right? You might see certain names repeat down the line also. Okay, so don't get worried that how come one name, same customer. No, it's just a random name. And overall, when it comes to financial world, this data should be masked. We should basically, the end user should not be allowed to see certain data. One of them is customer name, and we'll see down the line how to deal with this problem. Next is the last 4 digits of your credit card number or bank account number or whatever. Again, this is a randomly generated data. You can see in the window here. I have just used a 4-digit number to give me some random data. Okay. Next is the country, the location from where this ping is, or basically the customer resides, the amount, okay, that has been transacted, the payment mode. So overall, there are 2 payment modes. Just a sec. Okay, so overall, there are 2 payment modes. One is called bank check. So there is something happening via bank side, and the second is credit card. That's it. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I will just delete this for now because it's not allowing me to filter here. Okay, so just give me a minute. I will delete all these things. We don't require these things right now. Now it should allow me to filter. So if you see on the payment mode, you will see bank check and credit card. That's it. Okay. Next is payment type. There are 2 types of payments. One is crediting. That means the customer is actually crediting it on the company side. And second is refund. The company is refunding the customer. There are 2 types of transactions happening here. Okay. Next is subscription. So you will see that subscription is something like you are paying it on monthly basis or you are paying it on yearly basis. Okay. Third, you will also see blanks. Why blanks? On purpose, I've kept some of the data empty so that I can show you how we can build up some insights from the existing data and fill up this empty cells. Okay. So far, so good. Okay. Next, status. Whatever transaction ID you saw on the initial column, whether that transaction is rejected. So you will see only 2 states over here, that is either rejected or completed. That's it. Nothing more than this. Either my transaction is successful, that is completed, or my transaction was rejected, right? Now, if your transactions were successful or rejected, there are some descriptions that the payment gateway sends to the company saying that credit card was expired. So probably the transaction failed. There was low credit. So for example, say, if you see this particular column, you will see that 45 euros were charged. But let's say in the credit card, there are only 30 euros. So what happened? The credit is low. So we are not able to transact. Okay. Wherever you will see the transaction is completed. So let me filter here. When I say transaction is completed, you will see that it's always a match, except certain scenarios we'll see later. Okay. Next is you will see mismatch also, that if in case there is some information that was mismatched, say CVV number and the card number could be matched. Right? Okay. So all done. Are we all good with the data? See, the reason why I'm taking much time to explain this is I just got a comment saying that don't explain much. The reason I'm explaining this is down the line, I will just use the column name. So again, you should not be confused what name I'm using and what data is there in. That's the reason I'm taking a little more time to explain the data set. Fair enough? Okay, great. Now let's move ahead. Now let's try to see what happens after we have the data. So let's say after I receive the data, I will do a very, very simple mapping of this data, saying that this is the column name, this is the data type. So data type is either we have dates, we have numbers, we have characters, right? So say customer ID was nothing but a character, right? Why character? Because you will see that customer ID was a combination of alphabets and numbers. So it's an alphanumeric data set. Fair enough? Next is the description, functional description. Whatever I explained you, I have put it over here, right? Imagine all of you, if you don't know what exactly is the meaning of this particular column, right? Or you don't know what is the meaning of this particular column, what is the logic behind this column, you will not be able to interpret the data properly. Hence, it is very important to have the functional knowledge of the data, saying that what is the unit of payment, right? What do you mean by bank account? So it shows that it is the last 4 digits of the customer's account, something of that sort. Okay. Next, do we have any related fields over here? So say if you pick these fields up, do you feel any of these fields are related? Okay. So yes, the answer is yes. I'll give you the logic. If you remember in the subscription side, we had 2 fields. One was monthly, one was yearly, right? So the logic is if the amount charged to the customer is more than 100 euros, then it is a yearly subscription plan. If it is less than 100 euros, it goes to monthly subscription plan. This is the functional logic behind the columns. So you all remember there were empty columns here, right? We'll try to fill them up with this particular logic. How we found out this logic? This could be either given by the client or, you brainstorm to get this. Okay. Next, what do you say? Relation is between the description and the status. So if the status is completed, the description was matched. If it is rejected, the description could be one of these: low credit, card expired, or mismatch. Perfect. Fair enough. Shall I go further? Yeah, perfect. Now let's try to do some initial analysis on this particular data. So all I have done is I have imported this data into a very, very simple. Okay, I opened the wrong dashboard. Just give me a minute. Okay. Let's try to figure out what is there in the data, what all is present in the data, and what all, is not present in the data. So what we do, how to start this part of it is, we call it as univariate analysis. That means you pick up one variable. So again, going back to the data, you pick up one variable. You pick up one variable here. Say, for example, you pick up country, right? Try to understand what all countries are there, what all regions are there, what all names are wrong. Try to understand everything out of this particular column. Okay. So using Excel, you can do that, or using Tableau, Power BI. There are so many tools which will enable you to do this. Okay. So all I have done, if somebody is very new with this tool, please don't get overwhelmed. I'll show you how simple this tool is. Okay. Say, for example, you want to understand the status, what all statuses we have. Okay. All you need to do is drag the column from the left-hand side. So what are these columns? These columns are coming from the Excel sheet. Okay. All you need to do is just drag and drop the columns and you will be able to find out the transaction statuses. To make it more clear, we'll do a bubble chart saying that 23 transactions were completed in that data set and 60 transactions were rejected in the data set. Okay. So quickly, just to check with everyone, what does this show you? What does this notify? Or what insights you get from this graph? Any comments quickly without wasting much time? I just picked up one column called status. Okay. And I figured out the transaction status column. Perfect. I got one answer saying that rejection ratio is higher as compared to the completed ratio. Common sense, right? Because the bubble is larger. Yeah. So what does it show? It shows that the company is currently struggling with huge amount of rejections. Okay. There could be many reasons for it. Let's find out what could be the possible reason down the line. But overall, whatever graphs you see over here are nothing but drag and drops like this. So please don't get overwhelmed at how did I make this line? It's very simple. Take a column, drop it, you will see this particular graph. Okay. So the very first graph over here is the pink date. I've just taken the pink date. I've plotted on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, you will see the frequency. Okay. Just a minute. I will remove this. Okay. So overall, you all can see here is just 1 minute. This is wrong. It should be this. Yeah. If you all observe this now, can somebody give me a quick comment? So these are the dates, 1st Jan to 31st Jan. Okay. And these are the number of transactions that happened with respect to the date. So the y-axis is number of transactions, x-axis the date. Any insights over here? What is happening? During a certain day, do you feel the transaction load is very heavy? And during certain days, the transaction load is not very heavy. Yes? Perfect. So the first answer is, there is a possibility that the system might not be able to take a lot of transaction on one particular day, and that could lead up to the rejection, right? So I do remember during my college times, whenever the results used to get announced, right? We all used to go and attack a website, put our numbers, and we used to see the results in a hurry. Because of this volume, the servers used to crash sometimes. This could be a possibility. So out of 83 transactions today, you can easily see that 35 of them are raised on one single day on 31st of Jan. Fair enough? Okay. So this particular graph clearly shows me that the dates could be one of the reasons, right? Now to check how many transactions were successful or completed on this particular day, all you need to do is you need to take the status and put it as colors. So what I did, I took the status column, dropped it within colors. So now I have two colors. You will see the orange or the amber one, that is the rejected one. It shows the rejected. And you will see the one in blue, that is completed. If you are getting hassled over here, I will change this into a bar plot. Okay. Now you can easily see that. On 31st, 28 transactions were rejected. Only 7 transactions could go through. And that is, I would say, a very not that similar on other days. Other days, the transactions is to completed ratio is not that different. But specifically on 31st, it is very high. Yes, both are compared here. Yes, both are compared here. You see the blue one is completed, which is number 7. And the rejected is amber, which is totaling up to 28. Okay, so this is one way you can do a univariate analysis using a column. Next, let's try to check it out on the customer side. So in this particular graph, you will observe that there are customer IDs listed on the x-axis and the frequency with which they occur is listed on the y-axis. Okay, so you will see that sometimes in a month, a customer is charged twice. You see these customers? Are you all able to see it? There are certain customers, they are charged twice as compared to other customers, they are just charged once. That is weird, right? Why do I need to pay my subscription twice? We'll see down the line. What is the reason? But overall, keep this in mind. Some customers occurred twice in our data set. Okay, so this could be one way of doing a univariate analysis. Another one, if you want a better graph, put a bubble graph here. So larger bubble, you can see that the larger ones are occurring twice. Okay, so whichever way you like it. Next, with the customer names, I would say we should ignore this when it comes to very confidential data. So as of now, I'll ignore this particular graph. Next, graph is more about pay type, that is credit or refund. So this company is actually refunding the customer in transaction or crediting. You can easily see here that the refund is very less. That is, out of 83 transactions, there is only one refund happening. Remaining everything is crediting. That means customer is paying to the company, right? Next, the description part. What was the description? With every transaction, we saw that there is a description attached. So if it's a reject, you will see low credit, credit card expired. If it is completed, you will see match. If it is not, you'll see mismatch, right? So overall, you can see that there are two descriptions that are leading over here. That is low credit and expired card. Any insights from your side, all of you? What does this show you? Low credit is the highest occurrence. Card expired is the second one. Any recommendation to the company from your side looking at this graph? It will happen rejection. Yes, Ishant, you're right. This is going to rejection. But if you have to recommend certain insights to the company, saying that, see, if you fix this, your rejections will change or your rejections will become success. Look at this, low credit and card expired. Card expired means what? Your credit card is actually expired. Low credit means what? You don't have balance in your credit card. Can I do one thing? Can I ask the company saying that, please send an SMS to your client 7 days prior to this ping, saying that we are going to ping you in next 7 days. Please check you have good credit. And also please check if your card details are right on our portal, or else please come and change your card details. Let's say my credit card ends today, 10th March 2023, my credit card got expired, right? Imagine if I would have got an SMS 7 days back saying that we are having a ping and we have noticed that your credit card is going to expire. Please immediately go and fix this, right? What's going to happen? Do you all agree with me? At least by sending that SMS, the customer will be aware and the rejection ratio might come down. Fair enough? It's a logical stuff, right? So from our side, if you remember, I'll go back to the PPT, the presentation. They asked us, right, recommend a solution to improve payment success. This could be one of the recommendations from our side. As a business analyst or as a data analyst or as a data expert, I will immediately go back and say that, let's start running this campaign from next week. Okay, very, very simple and logical. Nothing hi-fi over here. Okay, next, I already showed you this. We already saw this. Okay, next is the amount. So if you now see, there was an amount attached with every transaction, right? So if you all observe, there was 1184 euros which the company received. Why? Because it's completed. So in a month, the company received only 1184 euros, whereas it could not get 6,321 euros. Look at the number on the rejection part. The company was supposed to get this amount. It did not get. Correct? It's a big loss for the company. Yes, they are going to get it next month, but For this particular month, they lost 6321 as compared to 1184. This is a big difference over here, right? Next, the geographical locations. Now, this is a little interesting part. So how I have done this, let me quickly show you. Then we'll come back to this sheet. So all I have done is I've taken the column called countries. I've dragged and dropped here. I'm counting the total number of transactions. I'm dragging and dropping. Okay. You will see that a bar chart has come with the country names. Okay. Next, all I do is I go and I click on the geograph, the geographical world map graph. And all now you will see that you will see the countries that we had highlighted in the data are over here along with the transactions. Okay. So I'll delete this sheet and we'll go back to our original sheet. That was the geo. Okay. So now you will see here, we have a lot of countries which is coming from Europe. Okay. And if you scroll on each of them, you will get to know what is the contribution in the data set for each countries. On the right hand side, you will see the filters. So I have filtered it on the payment type, payment mode, status, the week that the ping is happening, and the countries. Okay, so let's try to play around with this. So I will say that show me the countries with maximum number of refunds. You will see that there is only one refund happened in the entire data in the entire month, which was from Spain. What is the amount of refund? 3 euros. You all can read this. Small, Spain 1 and 3.000. Is this readable? Everyone? Perfect. Next, let's try to play with something else. Let's see the country which resulted into maximum rejections. So now you will see that these are the countries which had rejections, especially Poland is 5, Germany is 22, Italy is 13, Spain is 3, Portugal is 17. So I would say Germany resulted into the maximum number of rejections. And the company lost around 3,813 euros over here. Okay. So in your insights report back to the organization, you can say that please focus on the customer relation team in the Germany side, be proactive, connect to the customer, check with them on their credit card expiry and all those things. Okay. Next, if I have to show you more insights, let's see which week resulted into maximum number of rejections. So if I'll say just week number 1, there was no rejection from Spain in week number 1. If I say week number 2 only, all the countries had rejections. Week number 3, almost all the countries had it. Week number 4, again, you will see Spain and Italy have gone. That means in week number 4, there was no rejection coming from these 2 countries. Okay. Week number 5, you will see France has gone above. That means France, all the customers paid completely for the month of Jan. Remaining all the countries had some rejections. Okay. Fair enough. So again, this is a very, very simple graph, but you can get a lot of insights out of this graph. A lot of insights. Okay, next. I do have a lot over here, right? So probably you can think about a lot of different ways in which you can use this data. Okay, so I'll pause for 2 more minutes now. I'll just quickly check with all of you. So far, all good. You got my concept over here. Take a column, put these kind of graphs, try to make or infer some insights out of it. This is not it, guys. We are still yet to do a very, very complex, I will not say very complex, but yeah, a little more complex dashboard out of this. This was just a univariate analysis showing you that how powerful one column is. Fair enough, everyone? Very nice. Shall I move on? Or do you want me to, anybody wants me to say, repeat something or any questions for me? I did see a lot of hands coming up, but since there is no voice option, guys, I would request you to type in the chat window. Okay, there is one request on repeat. Harsh, you want me to repeat what? You want me to repeat the geo part? You want me to pick up any particular, just name one graph, I'll repeat for you. Explain ping. Okay. See, what do you mean by ping is, okay, explain the ping graph. Okay. See, if you see over here, we have dates from 1st January to 31st January. Okay. Now, if you observe at particular date, the rejection was very high as compared to the completion. Okay. So here you can easily see to it that one day the rejection ratio is becoming very high, right? So what you can suggest to your customer that what if you can move 31st January pings to some other days, dilute it. Probably say at the end of the month, people might exhaust their money out from the credit card or from the bank. That also could be a reason to default over here. Vipin, is that perfect? Okay, and the geography part, Harsh, I'll quickly go through again for you. See, what is this geography thing is, we had mentioned country names in our data set. Did you see that? Here it is. Tableau automatically picks up and highlights those countries for you. You don't have to now take a pain of notifying to Tableau that this is the country, please help me out and tag it. Tableau automatically understands and tags you there, right? Now, what I have done on the right-hand side, you will see these are your other columns. These are filters. Okay. So if you just want to understand that, which particular country is having rejections, you can say that these countries are having rejections. That means from France, you saw 0 rejections. In sync with me, Harsh? One of the insights I gave you. The insight is when I unchecked the completed option, you saw that France moved out. That means except France, all of the countries had rejections, but France had 0 rejections. That means this country is basically paying the company on time. Customers from this company, from this country, sorry. Okay, there is a question, which application this is? This is Tableau. Everyone, there is a software called Tableau, which helps you to generate such graphs. Okay, perfect. So moving on now, keeping the time in mind, now we will go to further steps. Now, how to make a dashboard out of this and how to make more matured recommendations out of this. Okay, so what I've done here is now we will make some changes to our data. We'll add more columns. We'll also add the missing values from the data. A lot of things we'll do. So 1 to 12, you see over here are your actual columns from the data. This is the data type as it is. Now, I don't require transaction ID. Guys, do you require transaction ID to find insights? Do you think transaction ID will give you any insights? Quickly. If you people say yes, please let me know what insight a transaction ID can give. In our case, transaction ID is just a number, right? So I don't want to burden my software with extra data. So I'll say delete this column. Customer name. Will customer name give you any insights? Yes, probably there could be one customer who's defaulting from last 10 months. Say out of 100, there could be one case. But in our case, this is not right. So I would say we should delete that column. Also, bank account number or credit card last 4 digits number. This is of no use to us, right? So let's not populate these 3 data in our set. So I have said what to do. Retention means, do you want to retain this particular column? I'll say delete it. We don't need this. Remaining all the columns are being retained. Yes, in the subscription, there were empty values. Let me go back here. If you observe subscription, you will find empty values. What was the logic? Can somebody tell me the logic for subscription? Just to check all of your awareness. How should I put a subscription here? I want this value to be filled up monthly or yearly. How should I do this? No, Harpreet, it's not no subscriptions. If you remember during the starting of this particular Excel, I clearly said functional logic or relational logic. The logic was like this. If the amount, what is amount? Amount column. If the amount is greater than 100 euros, then it is a yearly subscription. Fair enough? That was the reason I was focusing on to explaining you all the columns so that you all are familiar. When I say amount, when I say subscription, you all are very, very familiar. What do I mean? Okay. So next is we have to now build up a logic and say that if it is more than 100, replace it by yearly. Okay. Next, let me show you how we have done this. So very simple. If you all have used Excel, all you need to do is just write a if logic. You all can read this logic. If the H2, what is H2? The amount. If the amount cell is greater than 100, it is yearly, else it is monthly. I've just used a simple if logic here and I have dragged it down. It has filled up all the cells for me. Fair enough. It's a simple Excel logic, nothing big thing into that, right? Next is very important now. All of you, please focus on here. This is very important thing to discuss now. See, customer has given you this data. That doesn't mean that your thinking ends over here. You could create more data out of these existing columns. Okay. Example. Can I get the year out of the date? So if you see the date right now, the date is mix of day, month, and a year, right? What I'm saying is let's separate out year, month, week, date, and weekday out of this. From one column, I can create 5 new columns, right? What is the use of doing that? We'll get more data to analyze, more columns to work upon, right? In sync with me, everyone? From one column, we will make 5 new columns. I'll show you how. Okay. Next, there is something called repeat transactions. What do you mean by repeat transaction is? Very simple. If, say, one transaction goes rejected, okay, my sheet has become unresponsive. Just give me a minute. Am I still audible, everyone? Okay, sorry.
Yes, Krishna.
I think my sheet has become unresponsive. Let's give half a second for this. Okay. Just wait, guys. The sheet is not responsive. Apologies. Meanwhile, Mehul, people are asking about the end time of this session. So if you could help them out.
Hey guys, so we will be wrapping up the session by 9:30 to 9:45. Okay. So it is like 30 more minutes. Okay.
Okay, let me start. Let me restart this. Just give me a minute.
So a lot of people are asking about certification. So guys, yes, see, you will be eligible to receive the certificate. Okay, provided you are filling up the feedback form, which will be shared at the end of the webinar. And I think it will take 30 more minutes for us to wrap the session. So you can expect to receive the feedback form once we finish the session. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Mehul. Yeah, so the sheet is back. So I'll show you some magic now, all of you. Okay. What I've done, I've filtered on rejected, right? And when you do this, you will find out. So let's pick up, let's pick up one customer ID, say EU5323. Okay. So let me filter EU5323. Yeah. You will see that one customer is occurring twice. Do you all remember the graph that I showed all of you? Right? We found out some customers were found twice in this data set, right? Now, when I checked with the client said, yes, this is not an error. It is something like when the transaction for a customer goes rejected, we try to reping automatically at the end of the month. Right? You all understood the logic? If the first transaction, no, Kaustup, it is not charged twice. Let's say when I'm looking at the data, I understood, yes, it is twice. But think about this. I went back to the client saying that, why are we charging 2 times in a month? The company said that if somebody's transaction goes to rejected mode, automatically the system charges them towards the end of the month. So on 24th, this person was charged. Again, this person is charged over here. Yes. So again, as I said, apologies for different bank account. As I said, it's a randomly generated number. Actually, it should be 7144. Good observation. Okay. So ignore the bank account number right now. Harsh, ignore that part of it. Yes, it's an error. But overall, the logic here was it's a reaping. Okay. And in this case, you will see that the reaping again is rejected. Same reason as low credit. Yeah. In both cases is rejected. Yes, it is possible. No? See, on 24th, he got rejected. Again, on reaping, it could be success or rejection. Okay. So what I've done, keeping this new feature in mind, we have built up a column called repeat transactions. That means original transaction, if it's rejected, there'll be one more transaction called repeat. So what I've done in the new data set, you will find that you will have a column called repeat transaction. For some of the customers, there is no repeat because, right, they were charged. But for some of the customers, there is a repeat. So there is a yes and no for this particular column called repeat. Okay. This is one new column that we have made. And the last one is something called repeat rejected. So somebody just rightly pointed out that, yes, it was a repeat transaction. And again, yes, it was rejected. So let's see. So all I've done is wherever we see a rejection as a final answer, okay, along with repeat. So first of all, I'll filter on repeat, yes. And then you will see that if it is rejected, so here I'll filter it out, completed, rejected. So now you will see that it's a repeat transaction, yes, and all of these repeat transactions were rejected. Hence, you will see a new column called repeat rejected. Okay, so we again made a new column saying that this is repeat and this is all rejected out of this repeat. Okay, if you observe, there is close to, I would say, there is close to 27 transactions out of 83, which is repeat plus rejected. Okay, so now you will observe that we have made these many extra columns. This is called feature generation. From your existing data, you are matching the logic to generate new columns or new features. Fair enough? Okay. Let's say if I ask some of you, you might come up with a better column saying that mixing these two, I'll get something more. Mixing these two, I could get one more column out of it. This is called feature generation. Good enough with the data? So now our data is complete where I have removed all these things, unwanted stuff. And now we'll just focus on the relevant data for our Tableau dashboard. Shall I go further? Yes? Or no? Or all of you are confused? Okay, great. Let's go further now. So now we'll build up a little complex dashboard. Right. So first of all, I'll show you the end result. Just a sec. How do I push this up? Okay, better. This is the end result. Say I probably am showing it to my client saying that I have built a very, very small automated dashboard for you where you will be able to monitor some of the things. Now, what are these things? Let me show you. And then I'll take you to how to build this up, how I build this up. So the very first thing that you see over here is nothing but the geographical map that we have done earlier, right? So just hovering it over, the leadership will come to know which country is contributing to the maximum number of, say, rejections, for example, right? Secondly, you will also see a table over here called computation where week-wise, so in month of Jan, we had 5 weeks. This is the count of transactions happening per week. This total transactions were declined, or I would say rejected. This is the declined rate. Okay, so 67% of transactions were declined in week number 1. So you can find out which week particularly is having the highest decline. So you can see that week 4 and week 5 are very high. Okay, And success rate. Success rate is nothing but 100 minus 80%, that is 20. Got it? So this could be a tabular view of your week-wise computation. Next is your dates. So we saw this graph in the previous Tableau board, right? So on each day of your month, what is your rejected versus completed ratio? So this clearly shows that this is the bottleneck right now, 31st. Okay. Next, people, you remember we created a new column called repeat and then rejected, the last column. So these are the folks, or these are the customers who actually were given a repeated transaction and those transactions were rejected. So these are your defaulters. Probably your customer support team should talk to these people on priority basis. Okay. Next is the weekly count of your completed versus rejected. So this was daily. This graph shows weekly data. So some of the leadership say does not want to see daily, they want to see weekly. I've summarized it for them. Okay. And the below one is your descriptions, week on week. So if you pick up week number 1, what description was the highest over here? Say in week number 1, match. Match was highest. What do you mean by match? Match means the transaction was successful. Okay, the red one. If you see in last week, the description that is of highest number is low credit. The second one is card expired. We saw this in a different graph. You all remember the bar chart, we saw this. So now this is a very clear indication that why this is rejected. The reason for rejection is low credit and card expired. And also mismatch, but mismatch is very low as compared to these two. Okay. So think about this. What if this dashboard is given to the leadership or the customer team saying that monitor this and depending on this, take your decisions. Okay. Now how I made this. So let me go one by one. So this was the graph that we saw over here. This particular graph is this, right? All I have done is I've taken the week as x-axis and the count of transaction is y-axis. Okay. And I have to show you the filters. These are the filters. What do you mean by filters? We saw it in Excel, right? If I want to see only completed rejected transactions, I'll uncheck this. Now you will see that only rejected transactions have appeared here. If you want to see only repeat transactions. Now quickly, just to check your awareness, what do you mean by repeat transactions? Can somebody quickly let me know? Do you see this repeat over here on the right hand side? What do you mean by repeat? What is the logic behind repeat? Quickly, someone? I just want to check the awareness here. Harsh, the question was, do you see this repeat over here on the right hand side? Right? What do you mean by repeat transactions? Very nice. Somebody has replied, or a lot of you have replied, sorry, saying that the transactions were rejected earlier and hence we are re-pinging them. Very nice. Thank you so much. You all are very attentive. So if I just want the repeat customers, all I'll do is I'll uncheck this and you will find out that the entire thing is gone away. Why? Because the transactions are here only for the last week of the month. You will see 2 dots over here. Unfortunately, the lines have gone away. You'll just see the dots. Okay. So all I have done is I'm using these filters to make my understanding. I'll uncheck this because if I show my filters here, you will see filters also on the dashboard, which I don't want. I'll also show you how I populated or accumulated this, but let's understand each and every graph first. Okay. Next is daily status. So whatever we saw week-wise, this is day-wise. All I have done, you know, what's the difference between this graph and earlier graph? You will see the x-axis date. And also I have just chosen the bar plot instead of the line plot. Very simple. Right? Next is description. So here, what is the x-axis? Week. The week numbers are the x-axis. The y-axis is your total number of occurrences. Okay. And you will also observe I have used description here. Okay. Now, how to make this graph? We'll make from scratch. So all I have done is I've taken the date, cropped it. I've taken the total number of transactions from here. Okay. Then I have taken the description. What was description? The reason for rejection or acceptance. Okay. And all I have done is I've gone here. Why there is no line? Just a sec. We will use ping date. Let's say we'll use ping date. Okay, from the ping date, we will use weeks. Okay, now you saw that we have got a line chart. This is how I have made the description chart. Simple. Okay, so again, this is very, very clear for all of you, saying that what are these? These are week-wise description. If you want to see day-wise, all I can do is let me not spoil this graph. Let me spoil it here. So all I'll do is I will just put day here. So now you will see on daily basis what description is creating a problem. Right? Next is the geographical graph. I already showed all of you how to make this. Simple drag and drop, nothing much. And whatever you see here on the left-hand side are your filters. So if I just show you the filter, this is one of the filter. Now, let's do one more analysis. Let's see the country which is having highest number of monthly subscriptions. So I'll uncheck yearly. Now you'll find that almost all the countries have, I'll say very, very close data, except Hungary. Hungary is just 3 occurrences for yearly monthly subscription. Let's check for yearly data. So you just saw that only Italy and Germany has customers with yearly subscription payment. Rest all of the countries are monthly. Fair enough? Good analysis to give back to the client, saying that if you are charging, if you're focusing on yearly payments, because you see, once these customers pay, they don't have to pay for next 12 months. So they are very critical customers for them, right? So we'll clearly say that there's only 2 countries, right, which is having yearly subscription. Please focus on reminders. Please focus on your customers' credit card balance. A lot of things. Okay. Right. So this was one filter, right? So similar to that, we have something called CX status. So you will see the filters here. All I have done is, I'm sorry, just give me a minute. I will show the filter. Yeah, all I have done is I want to display the name or the customer ID of only those customers who is repeat and whose status was rejected. Something like repeat and reject. Got it? So all I've done, repeat rejected, yes, status is rejected, yes. And you will see that these are the defaulters. Basically, we gave them 2 chances to pay. Still, they have not cleared their amount. Fair enough? Now, all I have done is I've created a blank dashboard. I have increased the width so that I can fit all of my graphs. And you will observe that all I'm doing is just taking and dropping it here and then adjusting it with a correct location. Okay, I'll bring the table here. Then I'll bring the status here, right? So like this, I have populated and I have made this particular dashboard, which is very, very clean. And I would say easy to understand. So all I need to now do is just go to presentation mode and you will see all the graphs into one dashboard. Okay, perfect. Now quickly to summarize, sum this up, I'll not take more than 5 minutes now. Can some of you list down 5 recommendations that we'll give to our customer back looking at this data? I want 5 customers. I want 5 recommendations to be given back to customer after our analysis. Please help me to note down those 5 recommendations one by one. I want to see how much you all remembered out of this session. I gave all the recommendations while explaining this graphs. Okay, number 1 is to pay on time. So Costa, be very specific here. To pay on time means what? Will you remind a customer via SMS, email, X days prior to the payment to keep their credit card details check their credit card details, plus check their balance. This is one recommendation. Second is yearly payment. Very, very nicely summed up. Whoever did that, kudos to you. Yearly payment is very important because once done, next 12 months, you don't have to worry about it. So focus more on yearly payments. Next, third one, do not, okay, I'll not give it away. This is a very important recommendation, and the hint I'll give all of you is the date. Can you all figure it out? What recommendation we can give for this date? Guys, 31st. What is the recommendation given to the company here? Yes. At the month end, middle class people probably will exhaust their money out till they get the salary for the month, for the next month, right? So do not charge or ping people on the last day of the month. Shift it more towards the third week or second week of the month. Correct? Very, very nicely said. So like this, think about this. There could be hundreds of recommendations that you all can mix, match, and show. Okay. Now there is a very, very good question. What if the dashboard crashes? Very simple. It's just close it, rerun. If the server is on, it should be able to run. Right? It's I would say it's an enterprise product, everyone. So the crash will not happen. But yeah, if there is a very severe issue, yes, just close it, wait for the uptime, and then start it again. Your data will not be lost because everything is perfectly stored and replicated on the cloud. The data that you are seeing right now is not on my machine, guys. This is on cloud right now. Perfect. Great. See, if in case you're very, very particular about it, all you need to do is just go to file and download this as a PPT or a screenshot and just share it with your client. If in case there's a crash situation again, right? Yeah, so there is one very good question. Is this all in Tableau? No, this is not all in Tableau. Tableau, you can take it to next level, but keeping everybody's skill set, they are very new to all these things. I have made it very, very minimal dashboard. You can even do scripting in Tableau. Probably say in future, when I take more sessions, probably I'll also show you down the line scripting part in Tableau, right? I do not believe in showing everything in one session because you all will get overwhelmed by it. Tableau will take good amount of experience and time for you to learn. Tableau is limitless. Power BI, Tableau, Excel, Click. These all are some of the latest visualization softwares. Okay. Perfect. I hope, say, you got a good, I will not say you become expert in visualization. That is very wrong for me to say that. But yes, this will get you all kickstarted. What is data? How to transform your data? How to make your data better? How to add more features to your data using the backend logic? And then how to represent it on the graph and how to interpret it into business decisions. I showed you only 5 business decisions today. Imagine, think down the line, how many more decisions could be taken. Yep. Perfect. So this was just a Kickstarter for everyone to think about. This is a very interesting field. If you are innovative, if you like playing around with data, probably this could be very, very good career choice for all of you. And this is very interesting also because, say, when you are doing something, suddenly you might get a new insight out of the data which company would have never thought about. Right? So, yeah, okay. So, yes, Anuj. So there is a question from Anuj saying that, can we forecast from next month? Yes, Anuj, there are tools available within Tableau which will give you forecast for the next months. But here we cannot do it today because the data is very less. We just have 83 rows today. It's not enough for me to predict. To predict next month's data, I need last year's data also. Yes, the software is Tableau. Okay. Tableau, T-A-B-L-E-A-U, Tableau. Okay. Mehul, over to you. I think I have answered all of the questions majorly. Yeah. And I hope they were able to, get inspired on the data analytics side. Thank you so much. I think the audience was, I would say, fabulous. You all were very attentive. Thank you so much for that. Have a great evening.